I helped my client Chris Tran scale his coaching business from $5,000 per month to consistently earning over $10,000 per month every single month within just 60 days. And then his very first 30 days of working with me, he signed $20,700 worth of clients. And we did all of this without offering any crazy guarantees that he couldn't fulfill, without spending hours writing content and filming videos for social media, and without having to spam people with salesy DMs or pitching people things that you didn't want to say. Because that's not how you should run a business. You should want to work with people that already want to work with you. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 decisions that I made for him and helped him actually implement into his business so that you can use them for your own business and scale your business to 10, 20, 30, 50K plus per month, whatever you want to do. So when Chris came to me, my goal was simple. I wanted to help him build a predictable cash flow business, one that meant he knew exactly how much he was going to earn this month and how much he was going to earn the next month and the month after that and so on, so that he could always predict his income. I wanted to help him work with high quality clients as well. I didn't want him to have to work with people he didn't like just for the sake of money, because I know what running a coach business is like. I wanted him to be able to work with people he genuinely enjoyed working with and that he loved working with and that he could actually help, so that he enjoyed running his business overall. And lastly, I wanted to keep his profits high. Even if he was earning 50K a month, that's no good if he's spending 45K a month on ads. So I wanted to make sure his profit stayed high. I also wanted to get in some short-term wins and just get some cash through the door as quickly as possible. And then also help him build some long-term systems that meant that he didn't have to always spend time doing DMs, spend time doing content. Because as a coach, you're running a business, right? You don't want to spend hours every single day doing that. You still want to be able to serve your clients. You still want to be able to create more content. You still want to be able to go spend time with your family and friends. So we put some long-term systems in place that meant the business would always scale and earn money, whether or not he was spending hours on the content and DMs or not. So in this video, as I said, I'm going to walk you through the 5 decisions I made and why, and in the order that I made them, so you can implement them into your own business. But before we do that, here's a little bit about me. I scaled my own agency to $10,000 per month within just 6 months. Then transitioned into coaching and scaled that business to $75,000 per month within a year. I'm now building my own solo consulting business where I teach other founders the exact systems that I've built and the things I've learned through building 2 businesses. And overall, I've helped 100 plus founders add $1 million plus in clients signed within the last year. And with all of that money I earned, I spent it all on my car because I'm irresponsible. So let's get into it with Chris Tran here, this good looking guy. So before working with me, he was earning $4,000 to $6,000 in monthly revenue. The main problem was it was inconsistent. Some months it was 4K, other months it was 6K. That's obviously not a fun way to run a business because it's scary. You don't know when the next sale is going to come in, etc., etc. He was spending 20 plus hours every single week on client delivery and 40 to 60 hours in total per week running the business. So he needed a system that didn't take loads of time to run because he didn't want to add on top of that workload. He was stuck for around 6 months trying to break the 6K ceiling, and he just couldn't. He was unsure where the next sales call would come from as well, which meant it was also a bit of a scary way to run the business. He just didn't know when the next sale would come. And he didn't know what marketing to focus on to bring more of them clients in. So he didn't know whether he should be doing more ads, more video content, more LinkedIn DMs, etc., etc. So he just wanted a bit of clarity on all of that. But since working with me, he smashed it. He hit 10K plus in monthly revenue pretty quickly within 60 days. He closed $20,700 with clients within his first 4 weeks. So we got them quick short-term wins pretty quickly. He gets to pick and choose quality clients only, which means that he gets to work with people that he genuinely enjoys working with and that he can actually help. And he's got a predictable LinkedIn lead gen system now. So he knows exactly how many sales calls he's going to book every single week. He knows exactly how many of them will turn into clients. And therefore he knows that if he needs to sign 1 client, he needs to send 30 DMs. He can predictably grow his business that way. So yeah, here's the 5 decisions that we made to help him scale his business from 5 to 10K a month. I'm going to go into all of these steps in a little bit more detail in a minute. So I promise you'll get all of the details that you need so you can implement them all into your own business and scale your own business up. But number 1 was the offer refinement. This is the first thing that I do with any of my clients. It's the most important step for any lead gen system. If you don't get it right, all of your content, all your DMs, all your sales calls won't work nearly as well as they should, because everything that you're trying to market and sell is something that people don't even want. So that's step 1 of everything that I do, or every person I work with. Number 2 is account optimization. So setting up the LinkedIn profile to reflect that offer to generate inbound leads and attract the right people. And then also using the Sales Navigator tool, which is on LinkedIn, to consistently add high quality leads to his network or to my clients' networks. That way they always have people seeing their content and people to DM to get on sales call with. Number 3 was time management and mindset. Now that we had the offer and the account dialed in, if he didn't have his time management set up right, or he wasn't in the right frame of mind to actually start signing clients, the rest of the work would have been pointless. So I had to switch him from trying to do everything super fast and rush everything and be super urgent to actually taking a step back, building the right systems and being patient with it so that he knew it would work eventually. But also going from this like freelancer mindset to a business owner mindset. You know, a lot of freelancers, they spend 1 minute doing this, 1 minute doing that, the next task, and they're all trying to jump to the next thing. And so I had to help him step back a little bit and understand that we're building systems now so the business can run itself in a way. Number 4 was then I actually taught him how to write content and send DMs that actually book sales calls. So we got into that, pretty self-explanatory. And then number 5, we wanted to turn it all into one big ecosystem so that if he wanted to have a day off, he could still book sales calls regardless of if he was in the DMs or writing content or not. So yeah, I'm now going to go into all of these in a bit more detail so you can start implementing them into your own business. So step 1, offer refinement. This is the most important step that I do with any and all of my clients, because if you get this bit wrong, then the marketing, the sales calls and the client acquisition in general is just not going to work as well as it should, because you're trying to sell something that people don't even want. So this is the first step I take all my clients through. It's the first step I took Chris through, and it had a super big impact on his DMs, on his content, and also obviously how much money he was making. So the first thing that we did together was we did some ICP research. We went to his previous clients. We looked at people who were already in his LinkedIn network. We got him to message people that he knew personally. And I gave him a script, which is basically something along the lines of, hey, I'm building a new offer at the minute. Would you mind jumping on a quick 15-minute call with me so I can ask you some questions about your pains, your fears, your desires? I want to improve my offer. I won't pitch or sell you anything. And then he got a few calls off the back of that. And on that call, he asked them about their pains, about their fears, about their desires, where they were currently at, how much they were currently earning, etc. And just tried to gain as much information as possible so that he could get a super clear situational ICP. Now, I've underlined situational because a lot of people define their ICP and leave it at that. Now, ICP stands for Ideal Client Profile, or in short, your ideal client. And they will build their ICP as something like founders earning 10K a month. And that's cool. Your ICP is founders earning 10K a month. But if you want to get really specific and build an offer that people really want, you need to get super clear on the situation that they're currently in so you can then define exactly what problems you're solving and what goal you're going to help them achieve. So this is what we did with Chris. Before, his ICP, his ideal client, was just gaming professionals. He was unsure exactly on what they said they wanted. And after doing some research, we figured out exactly what experience his ideal clients had, their current salaries, their current pains, their current fears, how they worded their goals, etc. And these 2 steps here are super important. Chris got super clear on exactly what language they used, and we had a clear outcome defined that his ICP said they wanted. So what I mean by this is a lot of coaches, a lot of consultants, a lot of agency owners, they build an offer that sounds really cool and it uses really big buzzwords and it sounds super interesting. But when the person who's being targeted reads it, they don't understand what it means because it doesn't actually resonate with the language that they're using to describe their problems or describe their goals. Whereas when you use super simplistic language, which matches the language that the ideal client is using to describe their problems, their fears, their goals, etc., it makes it super easy to understand. The ideal client resonates with it and therefore they're way more likely to buy. So this is exactly what we did with Chris. We got the outcome, or we defined the outcome they wanted. And then off the back of understanding how much they were earning and that kind of thing, we got some good pricing structures in place. And then also packaged his offer in a way that the ideal client understood, as I say. So yeah, by the end of it, he had a really good offer, which basically sold itself. And that is exactly what a good offer should do. It should do 80% of the legwork for you. So that when people jump on a sales call, if you don't know exactly what you're offering, they kind of know what goal they're going to get out of it, and they know that they want it. They just need to basically trust that you're the person to deliver that offer for them. So then they jump on a sales call, they make sure that they can trust you, and then because the offer's done 80% of the legwork, you just have to show up authentically and be a good person, and they're more likely to buy. So that's what we did with Chris. Once we done that, we moved on to step 2, which was account optimization. So the first thing we did was we optimized his LinkedIn profile. Now, we wanted to reflect the offer that we'd built and put it onto his LinkedIn profile. So when people click on it off the back of his content or when he DMs them, they could straight away understand exactly what he's going to be offering them. And then they could gauge whether they wanted to engage with Chris or not. So that's what we did. We designed a banner that had a super clear outcome on it and also showed the transformation he was going to take his clients through. So we ended up with this. You have a job in the gaming industry. I hope you get a better one. Sounds really simple, sounds really easy and almost too simple to be good, but it actually worked really well because people straight away understood exactly what he was going to help them achieve, which was a better job in the gaming industry. The headline, we talked about the problem that he solved, which was landing a higher paying job. And the about section on LinkedIn, we treated that as an elevator pitch, basically saying, here's what I do, here's how I do it, here's proof I've done it, and here's a call to action if you want help with it. Basically an elevator pitch. When you're designing a LinkedIn profile, think of it as a landing page, okay? Imagine that someone landed on it from never seeing you before. They basically want to understand exactly what outcome you're gonna help them achieve, how you're gonna do it, and proof you've done it. So that's exactly what we did with Chris's profile, set it up like that. Then we moved on to Sales Navigator. So Sales Nav is a tool that LinkedIn can give you access to if you pay for it each month. It's not that expensive each month, but it's really good and it's really important because you can consistently add qualified leads to your network through this tool. And that's exactly what our goal was with Chris through SalesNav. So together we built a super refined list of his ideal client, matching his situation YCP, so the job titles, the years of experience, the location, the geography, etc., etc. We ensured that it matched his situation YCP. And then once we had a good list of around 2,000 to 10,000 people, it looked something like this. We automated the connection requests. So it was sending 25 to 35 connection requests a day. We're aiming for a 30 to 40% acceptance rate as well. That meant he was adding roughly 10 people to his network every single day that would then start seeing his content and that he could then start DMing to book sales calls with. So yeah, it worked pretty well and he got good results off the back of it. So once we optimized his account, we went into actually starting to do some of the work together. So the first thing that we did before we started doing any lead gen activities was sort out his time management and sort out his mindset. Before Chris was working with me, he operated his business kind of like a freelancer. In that 1 minute he'd do this task, the next minute he'd jump to that task and he'd do that task for 5 minutes and then get distracted by that and so on, so on, so on. And that's how a lot of freelancers run their business. And it's fine, it works. But if you actually want to scale up, you can't do that because you need to have systems in place. You need to know exactly what you're doing by the minute. So that's what we did. We got into his calendar and we optimized it. This is my calendar, but it looks something like this where you literally optimize it minute by minute. You know exactly what you're doing at each hour of the day and you know what tasks are to be done throughout the day. So we put outreach at the first part of his day because no one likes doing outreach. So if you just get it out of the way in the morning, it means it's not lingering over you all day. And it means you actually get the most important task of the day done, which is obviously making money. So we did that every single day, start outreach conversations, follow the last conversations up and also respond to them. And then also we set it up so that on Mondays he wrote his week's worth of content. That meant he could get all of the lead gen stuff out of the way as quickly as possible and then carry on with his day and actually enjoy it. So yeah, once we'd done that, we set out the rest of the calendar to be laid out at one task at a time. I highly recommend that anyone at home watching this does this as well. So rather than just putting outreach, content, work, literally break down hour by hour what work you should be doing. Now what I do is I block out my time, so it says sales/maker time. And then at the beginning of the week, or on like a Sunday night, for example, I will put exactly what tasks I need to do within Maker Time. For example, improve my onboarding process, build the content GPT, so on, so on, so on. And then when it comes to actually working, I can just jump from task to the next task to the next task without having to plan out what I'm doing or what I need to do for the day. It just makes my whole day way more efficient. I get way more done. So yeah, definitely recommend you do that. We did that for Chris. That helped him optimize his day and actually be able to fit the lead gen stuff in. That was his time management bit done. Then we moved on to mindset. This is a super important part for any client I work with as well, because if you're not in the right frame of mind for generating leads, signing clients, scaling your business, then anything I teach you or Chris just isn't going to work or land that well. So that's what we got straight into as well, helping him improve his mindset on different things. So the first thing that I helped him with was understanding that helping people does not equal being salesy. A lot of people and founders, coaches, consultants, agency owners, they have a fear of DMing people, cold calling, or getting on a sales call and pushing someone over the line to buy because they're worried that they'll come across as salesy or like they're being annoying or like they're cold pitching people. And although I can see why you feel or think like that, you have to understand that these people are better off working with you. If you genuinely believe in your service and you genuinely believe that you can actually help someone, then you pushing them across the line, you getting them to pay you, isn't being salesy at all. It's just you helping them get to the best possible outcome. And yes, they might be scared to do it. Yes, they might have to put some money up front, but you are getting them to their destination or their dream destination way quicker and in a more defined way, and they're also more likely to achieve the outcome. So I help Chris understand that yes, we're going to be DMing people, yes, we're going to be writing content that have call to actions on it. That doesn't mean that you're salesy. That just means you're trying to help as many people as possible, and you will help more people off the back of doing that. So once he understood that, we then went through patience. When Chris came to me, there was two things he said. Number one is he wanted to move really fast, which is obviously a good thing. But he was also worried that I would just be teaching him the same thing he's already been doing, which was just DMs and content. And I said to him, yes, whilst I am going to be teaching you DMs and content again, which you're already doing, I'm going to give you a system that has 10x the output you're currently getting. So it has more leverage. I.e., you spend an hour at the minute doing DMs, you get 1 sales call. You'll be able to spend an hour doing DMs and get 10 sales calls. So you won't actually have to spend anywhere near as much time doing it. Obviously, the urgency thing as well. It is good to want to move fast, but it doesn't always serve you to move as quickly as possible. Because then you make bad decisions. You sign the wrong client. You don't build the system as good as it could have been. The system doesn't work as well as it should, and so on, so on, so on. And so I helped Chris understand that yes, we do want to move fast, but also let's be patient with it and make sure we do it properly the first time so you don't have to come back to me in 3 months and ask for help again. So that's exactly what we did. And by the end of this step, he had a good calendar. He knew exactly what he was supposed to be doing every single day by the hour. He was getting all of his outreach done out the way in the mornings and his content out the way on the Mondays. And he also understood that helping people did not mean being salesy. So yeah, once we've done that, we actually got into the stuff which is where the magic happens, which is the content and the DMs, right? So we built his offer. We actually built something that people wanted to buy. We optimized his LinkedIn account. We made sure he's in the right frame of mind to start generating some leads. Now it was time to actually start generating the leads. And so the first thing that I got him on doing was sending the DMs. If you want to book sales calls this week or today, I'd highly recommend you go and send 50 DMs. Because it's the quickest way to book sales calls. You'll also see results pretty quickly off of it. Within the first week of doing it, people will start responding. You may even book a few sales calls. You might even sign a client. And so if you want to get results quick, send DMs. And that's exactly what I told Chris to do. And he listened. He hammered the hell out of it. So fair play to him. Once he started sending the DMs and he was in the routine of doing it after about a week, I then wanted to help him build a system that was multipliable. I don't know if that's a word, but it basically, repeatable is a better word for that. I wanted to help him build a system that was repeatable, sustainable, and predictable. So I wanted him to get to a point where he knew exactly how many DMs he needed to send to understand how many calls he was going to book. And so after a couple of weeks of sending DMs and tracking every single DM, tracking every single response, tracking every single sales call booked, we knew that on average, for example, he was booking 30 sales calls off of 100 DMs. And off the back of them 30 sales calls, he was signing 3 clients, for example. And therefore he knew that if he wanted to sign 6 clients, he needed to send 200 DMs. If he wanted to sign 9 clients, he needed to send 300 DMs, and so on, so on, so on. And so we built a system that was actually repeatable and predictable. And therefore he could determine how many clients he wanted to sign that week based on how many DMs he sent. And that's a really important thing that I have in my business and in all my clients' businesses. If you don't know how many DMs you need to send to sign a client, then you haven't actually got a system. You've just got a pray and hope DM system, right? That's not what you want to scale a business. You want numbers that basically say, on average, if I send 100 DMs, I will get 30 sales calls and book 1 client. So that's exactly what we did for Chris. We built him a repeatable system through the DMs. And then once he got that and he knew exactly how many DMs he needed to send to sign a client, and he was repeating that, we then got him onto content. He was already doing content before working with me, some video stuff, so he was pretty good at it. But by using my templates and my AI stuff, he started to get some inbound leads pretty quickly as well, because he was super good at understanding the ICP and making the ICP feel understood in the content. So when they read it, they basically thought, okay, this guy completely understands where I'm at. I need to book in a call with him. So they were the short-term gains that he got off the back of it. He started generating inbound leads super quickly off the back of his LinkedIn content, around like 5 a week, I think. And inbound leads are super hot as well. It means that they convert way easier. So yeah, he got some pretty good short-term gains, but I also helped him understand that content is more of a long-term game 90% of the time for most people. Obviously, Chris got some good short-term results, but the main aim of content is to make your DMs way more effective. It's to build trust, so when you jump on a sales call with someone, they're way more likely to buy. It basically just makes your outputs and your leverage of your whole system work way better because people trust you more. They're more likely to respond because they've watched 5 of your videos and so on, so on, so on. And so content is more of a long-term game. Chris got some good short-term gains off of it because he put hours into it and he actually wanted to write content that was useful. And whenever any of my clients do that, they do generate inbound leads. So yeah, content and DMs, he started booking around 10 to 15 sales calls every single week off the back of this, sometimes even more, sometimes 20 sales calls. And yeah, this is the system that we use to help him book that many through LinkedIn. And then once we'd done that, we wanted to turn it into an ecosystem. So rather than him going on holiday and then his sales calls dropping off and his revenue dropping, we wanted to build a system that was actually sustainable and kind of ran without him. So that's exactly what we did. I showed him how to make sure the system was sustainable and he would actually keep up with it, mainly through, again, time management, mindset, but also showing him how to identify bottlenecks by looking at the data. So when all my clients sign up to me, they get a scorecard, which basically means they can track all of the numbers in their business, such as how many DMs they sent, the response rate, the call book rate, the close rate, how many inbound leads they generated, retention, LTV, blah, blah, blah. All of the important metrics, they track it in this sheet that I give to them. And Chris did that too. So I showed him how to look at the data and identify the bottlenecks. So say, for example, you send 100 DMs and only get 10 responses and then 9 calls booked off the back of them 10 responses. You know that your biggest problem there is getting a higher response rate. And so that's what you then work on. So I showed him how to solve the bottlenecks as well. If we also flip that example, let's say you're sending 100 DMs and you get 90 responses but only 10 calls booked. You know that you need to improve your response to call booked rate. And so then you need to work on your DMs in the conversation management bit. So yeah, showed him how to identify bottlenecks and how to solve them so that even after working with me, he could continuously grow the business. And then we spoke about some different ideas to actually scaling the business. So we spoke about automating some stuff such as the connection requests, some of the DMs. He took some of them on board because they were cheap and efficient to run. But Chris wanted to make sure that his business stayed lean and profitable. He didn't want to have to hire a big team and manage them and then pay them money because it would eat into the profits and eat into his time. And so he wanted to keep it as lean as possible. He was happy to send out 50 to 60 DMs a week. He was happy to write posts every single week. So he stuck to that and it worked well for him. He's scaling up the business still. He's still doing super well. He's still posting daily on LinkedIn and he's probably doing well over 10K a month now. So that's exactly what we helped him do. Just build a system that worked even when he wasn't working. So yeah, that's how I took Chris from earning inconsistent 4 to 6K months to consistently earning over $10,000 every single month. And also how I helped him close $20,700 worth of clients in his first 4 weeks of working with me off the back of a predictable LinkedIn lead gen system. He's smashing it. He put in all of the work, so props to him. Obviously, I told him what to do. I gave him the systems, but without his work ethic and without him actually wanting to make it work, it wouldn't have worked. So big shout out to Chris for trusting me and actually putting the time in. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, you're an agency owner, you like the way that I built my system, which is predictable and no BS, and you want to implement a similar thing to start booking 5 to 10 plus sales calls every single week for your offer, then feel free to drop me a message on Instagram, LinkedIn, or book in a call through the link in the description. I hope you've also taken a lot off this video and you've learned some things to implement into your own business. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it too.